Are you wondering what the best dart flight is for you? Did you know that different flight shapes can affect how quickly your darts enter the board and at what angle? Essentially, the purpose of a flight is to stabilize your darts in the air and help them reach their intended target. But which flight is best for beginners or going to suit your personal throw? We're going to explain everything you need to know about flights so you can discover the perfect match for you. The key difference between all shapes and sizes is the surface area. The best size flight is the size that works best for you. Although many people just use the flights and shafts that come in the pack, you might discover they're not the perfect match for your throwing style. A general rule of thumb is the softer you throw and the more arc in your flight pattern, the bigger the surface area you might want. On the other hand, if you throw very hard and straight with less of an arc, you might want to try a smaller flight. If you're somewhere in between, there's a huge range of flight shapes to choose from. Another important thing to consider is the angle of entry that your dart impacts the board. In soft tip, it's optimal for the plastic tip to enter as flat as possible, otherwise you increase your chance of bounce outs. Steel tip players, on the other hand, experiment with varying degrees of pitch, somewhere between 0 and 50 degrees to ensure the dart sticks properly to the board. So what does all of this mean regarding the shape of your flight? Essentially, the smaller the flight, the flatter the angle of entry. That's why so many soft tippers love the slim shape. On the other end of the spectrum, the larger the flight, the higher it sits up. Steel tip players really gravitate towards the standard shape in order to achieve a higher pitch. This is because larger flights act more as a parachute to create lift and allow your dart to follow more of an arc pathway to the board, and smaller flights provide less drag so the dart has time to flatten out before entering the board and reach your target quicker. The smaller the flight, the more accurate you need to be, since larger flights help with balance and consistency. On the other hand, a smaller flight on the board means less possibility of deflections when you tightly group that second or third dart. A bigger flight could potentially block the following darts from your target. In summary, you're trying to find the balance between speed and stability while also trying to achieve a certain angle of entry and avoid deflections. Let's cover some of the most popular flight shapes that we carry at A to Z Darts, from largest to smallest. First up, standard. Provides the most lift and stability in the air. Shape, otherwise known as small standard. Rocket, similar to shape but has a tapered end. Super shape, slightly smaller and faster than rocket. Kite, still offers great lift and stability, meant for a smooth medium speed thrower. Pear, otherwise known as teardrop, ever so slightly smaller and faster than kite. Astra, a super unique diamond shape. This is what I personally use. I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. When I first started playing darts, I used the slim foldable flights that came with my dart set. But then I joined a soft tip league and noticed everyone was throwing a molded flight. So I picked out the Astra shape, 100% because I just thought it looked cool. Turns out I got lucky and they actually work for my throwing style. Okay, we have 5 more shapes to cover. Fantail, similar to the kite parachute shape, but a smidge faster. W shape, we still have okay lift here, but definitely increasing speed. Slim, you'll find great design variety of this guy, offering a lot of speed. Super kite, extremely fast with little to no stability. Finally, the bullet shape has an extremely skinny body, suited better for players with a very powerful throw. Keep in mind, not every brand is going to produce all of these shapes. Some of them, like Astra and Super Kite, are proprietary to like 1 or 2 brands. So that's why you see players gravitating towards standard, small standard, Pear, and slim, because they have the greatest availability and variety of design choices. There are a few more unique shapes that we cover in our blog, but I only want to mention the Vapor S, the signature flight of 16-time world champion Phil Taylor. He preferred the method of stacking his darts, which required a very small flight to achieve a flat angle of entry.
Phil Taylor looks like hitting it. I'm going to say it.
Although you don't need to be a professional to handle the Vapor S shape, they do demand good throwing technique and follow-through in order to be incredibly accurate with them. There are only 2 types of dart flights, foldable and molded. Foldable flights are made from 4 sheets of polycarbonate glued together that can be folded open to attach to your shaft. Sometimes shafts come with little spring slots or slot lock rings to help keep the foldable flight secure. A lot of people don't know that you should first push the ring up to loosen the 4 prongs at the top, so it's much easier to then fit the tip of the foldable flight in, which naturally pushes the ring down to then squeeze the prongs back together nice and secure. The thickness measured in microns can vary. Here's an example of a thinner 75 micron flight versus a thicker 180 micron flight. Thinner flights are more flexible and cut to the board faster. Thicker flights are more durable and get extended lift. 100-micron flights are the most popular choice. Even texture can come into play. We have glittery, metallic, and dimplex flights that have small dimples in them to help increase drag and wind resistance, inspired by golf ball technology. Now let's talk the pros and cons of foldable flights. Pro number 1. They're incredibly inexpensive due to the cheap material and ease of manufacturing. Pro number 2. There's a ton of variety. You can choose from a wide array of designs and colors. Photorealistic images can be printed onto the material. Fair warning, some of the classic designs are for adults only. Pro number 3. They're super easy to store. They can fold flat, so you can easily carry a variety of shapes in a small space or dart case. Although foldable flights are cheap and easy to use, they may not be the perfect option for you. Con number 1, they bend and tear easily. Because of the fragile material, they are susceptible to getting torn up by incoming darts and robin hoods. A robin hood is when a dart gets stuck in the flight or shaft of another dart. Although very impressive, robin hoods are like a bounce out because no points are awarded for this throw in steel tip. Long story short, you may find yourself replacing foldable flights way more often than a molded flight. Con number 2, they might pop off of the shaft from the impact of another dart entering behind it, or even just from entering the board itself. This can throw off your rhythm a bit because you have to pick up the flight off the ground, you have to search for that blasted spring ring that's impossible to see, then reassemble everything mid-match, which isn't ideal for folks prone to panicking like me. Con number 3, the fins can flex and change angle, leading to potential deflections when hitting other darts. They can't perfectly maintain a consistent 90-degree angle due to the material's flexibility. So, who are foldable flights best suited for? Typically beginners, because they have no idea what shape or style of flight they like, and they're still developing their throw. Your form and throwing mechanics may change over time, so it's always good to keep in mind you can buy a variety of different shapes and flight designs to save on cost and keep your style fresh. Same goes for experienced players. Even if you prefer a molded system but looking for a change, you should buy all the different shapes of cheap foldable flights first to experiment. Moving on to molded flights. Unlike foldable flights, molded flights are manufactured in their final shape and prefer to stay that way. They maintain a perfect 90-degree angle due to being made with high-grade materials that are fused together using a molding process, hence the name. There are 2 variations of molded dart flights, the 2-piece system and the 1-piece system. 2-piece systems require you to assemble the flight and shaft to your dart. 1-piece systems completely eliminate the need to buy a separate flight and shaft. They are molded into one cohesive piece to make the assembly easier than ever. Now, we've already talked in depth about the pros and cons of a 1-piece versus 2-piece system, so you can watch our Target K-Flex video to get caught up after this. But for now, let's cover the pros and cons of molded flights. Pro number 1, it's near impossible to get a robin hood. The material is so durable, the second dart following the first cannot dig into the flight itself. Pro number 2, molded flights are far more durable than foldable flights. You simply won't be spending a ton of time constantly replacing flights or worrying about straightening your fins out every single throw. This is especially true for folks who have the ability to throw very tight groupings who are constantly putting wear and tear on their flights. Pro number 3, they have a more consistent trajectory due to the perfect 90-degree angle kept at all times. Con number 1, since you can't fold or flatten molded flights, they require a specialty case to store them so they won't get damaged. Con number 2, they're far more expensive up front. I say up front because obviously they're a higher quality product than foldable flights and they may last significantly longer. It really just depends on the player. How hard they throw, how rough the steel tip is on their dart setup, are they playing above a hard surface like concrete or hardwood floors? So many factors affect the lifespan of your flights. You decide what's worth the money. Con number 3, there might be a weight difference. It's very minimal, but depending on your exact flight and shaft combo, you might throw off the balance of your dart setup. So who are molded flights best suited for? Typically, someone who has experimented enough to know what shape they like and they want to upgrade to a more permanent version. Also, soft tip players 100% because the vast majority of soft tip players prefer molded flights. But what about steel tip players? Some traditionalists would never ditch their foldable flights for the hot new thing, but other steel tippers have embraced molded systems, especially here in the US. Certain brands have specialty systems that are proprietary, so you definitely want to pay attention to this next section where we deep dive into each brand's products, starting with the Asian manufacturers. First up, we have Flite, a proprietary two-piece system made in Japan by Cosmo darts, known for their unique push-in system where the flights snap onto compatible FitFlite shafts without the need for adhesives, allowing for quick and convenient replacement. FitFlite is offered in 3 different series: Original, Air, and Pro. The original material is stiffer and more durable. Air features a softer blend of plastic that helps prevent dart deflections, but in turn can be damaged easier. Lastly, the Pro is a thinner flight designed for flexibility with a reinforced grid texture to make up for the potential loss of durability. Next up, we have L-Style, another two-piece system made in Japan. This was my personal flight sponsor when I was traveling and competing. I used the Astra shape paired with the carbon fiber lock dart shafts by L-Style. They recommend you use their flights with their shafts, however you don't have to. You can also fit L-Style flights onto any standard nylon shaft, just not aluminum shafts. L-Style is offered in 5 different series: Pro, Soft, Dimple, Kami, and EZ. The Pro series comes with a pre-punched hole in the flight to use with the L-Style Pro Ring caps that lock the flight and shaft together. Similarly, the soft dart flights also require a Pro Ring for stability, and the soft material allows them to be almost as flexible as foldable flights. Then you have Dimple. We talked about Dimplex flights already, mimicking golf ball technology. Next up is Kami, the Japanese word for paper. This series features a similar flexibility as a paper flight. Lastly, the EZ dart flights are different in that they don't require a Pro Ring, as the cap is molded into the flight design itself, making it literally easier to assemble. Let's move on to Robson Sportscraft from the Philippines. They designed the Plus Flight, another two-piece molded system. They offer 2 variations, the Original Plus and Dimpled Plus. Remember the L-Style EZ series? Well, Robson Plus Flights are the original EZ design and can also be used with any 4-prong non-metal shaft. The bottom of the flight has a cross-shaped opening which pushes the shaft prongs open, then the tapered cone design compresses the shaft together to prevent the flights from popping off. Moving on to the one-piece system made in Japan by Condor. Most famous for their Condor Axe one-piece series, featuring a more rigid yet elastic material that lets your flights retain their shape better. The Zero Stress series uses a softer material for increased flexibility in the shaft and flight fins, allowing for tighter groupings and reduced deflections. Their newest innovation, the Condor Axe 120 Tri-Fin, has 3 flight fins instead of 4, which makes your darts fly just a little bit faster and a bit flatter than regular 4-fin flights. Condor dominated the one-piece market until competitors decided to join the race, so let's cover our remaining notable brands. The Welsh brand Winmau debuted their own one-piece system in 2024 called Fusion. Its slimmer stem and carved-out grooves running along the shaft provide extra flexibility in the shaft portion. As they are so new, currently there are only 9 color options, and the Fusion flights only come in standard number 2 and shape number 6 sizes. Also, the Welsh brand RedDragon launched their Nitro flight. It looks like a 2-piece system, but it's actually a 1-piece system that utilizes a dual-core design between the flight and shaft that brings added durability to the table. As of right now, the Nitro flights only come in 4 colors for the flight and 2 colors for the shaft. You can choose between standard number 2 and shape number 6 for your flight size. Moving on to the Target brand based in England, they launched the K-Flex one-piece system in 2023, featuring a special patented flex technology. K-Flex is designed to twist and bend if hit by another incoming dart. They currently come in standard number 2 and shape number 6 that both offer 9 different color variations, as well as a handful of pro player printed designs. Finally, we have the Shot brand in New Zealand. They launched their Flight Deck one-piece system at the tail end of 2023. The main design point is the internal carbon rod running through the shaft for extra structure and support. You can see it here in the clear version of the Flight Deck. At the base of the shaft, where it screws into the barrel, the entire system can rotate 360 degrees around the carbon rod, which helps prevent deflections and bounce outs from incoming darts. The edges of the fins are also thicker to prevent wear and tear. The Flight Deck currently comes in 10 different colors and only in the standard number 2 size. Now, there are quite a few other specialty systems out there that we have discontinued or are just losing popularity in the US, so we'll skip them for the time being, but you can learn more about them on our Flite blog. Wow, that's a lot of information, right? So let's recap the questions that you want to ask yourself. What angle of entry do I want? What does my throwing style look like in my flight path? How much do I care about design options and availability? Do I seem to struggle with a lot of deflections? And what is my personal budget? That could easily dictate what you're willing to spend your money on. Huge thank you, by the way, to Fat Chad's Tavern for letting us film in their bar. Comment down below if you have any more questions about dart flights that we didn't cover. If you want to see more fun and helpful content like this, you can watch our Target K-Flex product review right here, or you can subscribe so you don't miss out on our shafts video that we're working on next. Thanks for watching.